Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the village of Hamble in Hampshire. It's located just to the southeast of Southampton, situated on the eastern side of Southampton Water and the western side of the River Hamble estuary. I think the official name of the village is Hamble-Le-Rice. And we're going to be walking a roughly 5.5 mile circular route from Hamble northwards to Bursledon, around to Lower Swanwick, down to Warsash and back to Hamble. Basically it's going to be a walk around the Hamble estuary. There's going to be a lot of interesting things to see and quite a variety, so it's not quite a countryside walk. There'll be a bit of urban area, but there will be some open land, some woodland and some shoreline. Now I'm filming in the middle of June. It is a glorious sunny day. The clouds burning off, there's very little wind. Should be perfect conditions for a walk. Do come along with us. Well, I've parked my car at the Hamble Foreshore car park Pay Display, and you see that little Pink Ferry behind me? We'll be taking that right at the end of the video. So we'll start off the walk with a little bit of an exploration through Hamble itself. Well, the name of the village, Hamble, has varied over the years. In 730 AD it was Hamble, and in 1496 it was Hammer, and in 1846 it was then Hamble-Le-Rice. Hamble is Old English for crooked, which could mean, of course, the course of the River Hamble, or perhaps a Saxon chief called Hamble. The Le-Rice bit means brushwood or rise. But it's got lots of history, and there's certainly lots of reasons for a settlement to be here. There are many old wells in the area, meaning plenty of fresh water. And of course the fine mud of the riverbed was a good breeding ground for oysters. The mud flats were of course good for salterns, for salt production, and it's been a big maritime centre since the 13th century. Rope making industry was important here. Indeed, there's a lane called Rope Walk. There are 3 marinas in the estuary, and it's very much a mecca for boats and yachts. And I think the Royal Yachting Association have their offices here. And this is the Bugle pub, and there's been a pub here since 1600, but the present building dates from the 18th century. Indeed, it shows on an 1896 map as a beer house. And at one time it was called the Bull, and then later the Ferry House. And this is the Victory Inn, established in 1806. This is one of those gold post boxes commemorating Danny King, who was part of the Great Britain women's cycling pursuit team that won gold at the 2012 Olympics. She got married in 2017. I think she's now Danny Rowe, but she grew up in Hamble. Well, we're certainly going to have plenty of pubs to choose from at the end of the walk. This is Ye Olde White Hart. Originally, it was a very old cottage which became a grocer's shop in the 1840s, and then soon after became a beer house. And this is St Andrew's Church, which originated as a small Benedictine priory by 6 monks from the Abbey of Tiron in France in the early 12th century. I think they basically enlarged the existing Saxon church, I'm not sure. The nave and tower are from the 12th century, the chancel and porch are from the 13th century, the south chapel was built in the 19th century, and the north vestry added in 1911. Well, sadly the church was closed. There you go. Okay, we're going to head out into the countryside now, and we're going to follow a little road called Hamble House Gardens. Hamble House itself was on the corner here, built in 1740, and it was described in 1946 as a fine Georgian residence, but it was demolished in 1960 and a modern house was built, and I think it's behind the wall there. Well, we've now hit a bit of open countryside, so Logan can go off lead. It's actually what remains of an old airfield. And there were actually 2 airfields in Hamble. The first one, to the south, was opened in 1917 when an aircraft factory was built, and flying planes flew out from a steep sloped site leading out to Southampton Water. When that factory ceased production in 1919, the site became a testing ground for new designs and a bigger airfield was needed, so they bought the land here in 1926, called it the Northern Airfield, and it's much flatter. I think it became the home of a major flying school before and during the Second World War. And in 1960, the Hamble College of Air Training was established here, training future commercial airline pilots. When the site was sold to developers in the 1980s, I think the last plane took off from here in 1986. However, I believe that there are plans to turn it into a quarry for mineral extraction, although there have been a lot of objections, but I'm not 100% sure what the present position is. Now, I should point out that the public footpath sort of heads along the right-hand side there, but it does look as though the general public tend to walk in this area. I've seen a few people walking in with their dogs, so I'll just say that as an observation. But it's certainly a lovely bit of open area here. And as I said, the footpath is on the side of it, but there is a fairly well-worn path that goes through it that looks as though the locals use. So I've seen a few dog walkers out and about. Now, just to my left, I'm not going to be able to show you too much, but it was once the location of a training ship Mercury, which was a shore-based naval training school founded in 1885. Basically, it gave schoolboys pre-sea training to meet the requirements of both the Royal and Merchant Navies. But it closed in 1968 and houses were built on the site. Well, a little update on the route. We've just come to the end of the airfield and going to continue heading northwards. Interesting, if you did follow the sort of official footpath, it comes to a road and you'd have to go alongside a road that didn't have a footpath for 600 yards or so. So I can see why over the years the unofficial footpath on the actual airfield itself has developed. A lovely little shaded path. It was just what the doctor ordered. It's a very warm day today. I've got plenty of water for both myself and Logan, so we'll keep hydrated, and we're going to have plenty of stops along the way as well. Crossing over a railway, I presume that must be the Portsmouth to Southampton line. And I just spotted on the other side of the bridge, what are they? These look like they're old Second World War anti-tank obstacles. Pretty sure that's what they are. Yep, certainly the right shape. Oh, this is a quite breathtaking bit of woodland. Hear the birds twittering away. I think it's called Mallards Wood. Very peaceful it is too. Well, that was a lovely little bit of woodland, and just on the post here is a waymark for the Hamble Valley Strawberry Trail. Of course, the strawberry industry was very important around these parts in days gone by. You know, I love these old metal public footpath signs that are well looked after and painted. They look a bit better than the wooden ones, don't they? Well, after coming through that quite delightful bit of woodland, we're now on the outskirts of Bursledon. And some very pretty houses and cottages here as well. Oh, isn't that quite exquisite? The Dolphin. I wonder if that was a pub once, looking at the bit of metalwork up there. And another pub, the Vine Inn. And that shows as a beer house on an 1896 map. Isn't that quite beautiful? Timber framed building. The terrific front door there and the wisteria and roses outside. Well, Logan and I have just stopped off at the Jolly Sailor pub just for research purposes for the video. Now, older viewers may well remember that pub. It appeared regularly in the BBC television drama series Howard's Way. That was around about late 80s, early 90s. And the series was produced and filmed around this area. And indeed, the Mermaid Boatyard, well, that was literally just over there where the Elephant Boatyard is today. What a gorgeous setting. Right, back to me Thirsty Ferret Point. I'll tell you, what a glorious setting. The Jolly Sailor. So here goes. Oh yes, a thumbs up from me. Well, I imagine it must be a super day to be out on the water today. Of course, shipbuilding was the main industry in Bursledon until around 1870, and then agriculture took over, particularly the growing of strawberries, as I mentioned earlier, with the Strawberry Trail. And in the far distance there, I can see Bursledon Bridge with the A27 crossing over it. The original bridge was made of wood in 1783, and it was a toll bridge. In fact, an old map shows a toll house on there, which is long gone. The concrete bridge was built in the 1930s, and we're going to be crossing that shortly to get over to the other side of the estuary. Well, suitably refreshed from our pit stop, we continue with our walk. Now, this splendid building here is called Greywell, and well, it's an old pub. Previously it was the New Inn, which shows on an 1896 map. And well, it was a Strong's brewery house that was taken over by Whippet. I think it was still showing as a pub on a 1958 map. And this is Bursledon railway station, operated by the South Western Railway. I think it's the West Coastway line, not sure. But it was opened in 1889. Oh, good opportunity to just cool down a little bit. Well, I wouldn't drink that, it's salt water. I've got plenty of cold, fresh water for you, but lovely just to cool your legs down. I would join you, but I don't want to get my feet wet. Up to chest height as normal. That looks very relaxing, fella. Come on. Well, we're now on the eastern side of the Hamble estuary. We've crossed the Bursledon Bridge and we're at Lower Swanwick. Now, just above that hedge there, this is about the best we're going to see of this, is Brooklands House. The original house was built in 1800 and it was enlarged in 1807 and 1858. I think there's something like 29 acres of land there and landscape gardens as well. And I was reading that Jane Austen was a regular visitor. Well, the final part of our walk will be basically just following the shoreline on the eastern bank of the Hamble, and we should get some quite amazing views. And of course, daylight today, the river looking so blue. Well, folks, I know nothing about boats, but goodness me, this is like boat city round here, and some very impressive ones as well. And there's just a number of marinas all along the sort of central part of the Hamble estuary, and look, it goes on and on and on into the distance. You see, that's as far as Logan will go in, up to chest height. Or over here we've got a gun dog showing you how it's all done. Well, this is a terrific walk along, say, the side of the estuary. Plenty of opportunities for dog dips. And just on the left here, I'm pretty sure if you look at an 1896 map, there was an old miniature firing range. It was only about 300 yards long though. So many interesting things to look at on these sort of walks. I mean, look out there, presumably that is an old wreck. I wonder how many years that's been here. Now this is an interesting part of the walk here, the footpath as it goes along. You've got the river on one side, and then this area on the left hand side is called Bunny Meadows and it's part of the Hook with Warsash local nature reserve. And in the 1800s, well, basically it was poor quality grazing meadows here, protected by an embankment. And the embankment then was lowered in 1946 to create the salt marsh that's here today. And the name comes from culverts or bunnies, which permit water to pass through the river embankment to the salt marsh. Some good old-fashioned fresh water. Better than that salty stuff. I always have great admiration for folk that can just produce something from just a blank canvas.
Oh, wow. If it was only that simple.
So how long's this taking you?
Oh, how long have we been here, Martin? About an hour?
Oh, crumbs.
An hour, yeah, because I've done a little...
And will you finish it today, or do you take it home and finish it off?
No.
This
is it.
Oh,
well, it doesn't get finished today, it doesn't get finished, but it will be finished.
Oh, well, it's lovely. What a beautiful setting as well.
Yeah, it's lovely here, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I shall let you get on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is our final destination, the Pink Ferry that we're shortly going to go on, that's going to take us across the river back to Hamble. Now, there's been a ferry of some variety across the estuary since 1492. And the ferry goes here from Warsash Ferry hard over to the Hamble public jetty. There isn't a timetable as such, but it sort of operates between 10 AM and 4 PM. And the shelter here was built in the 1900s, and it was commissioned by the Bugle pub at Hamble. And well, the shelter itself was originally used to store kegs, but also served as a shelter for passengers waiting. We're going on the ferry.
Come and say hello.
Can you say hello? Come on then. Good boy. There you go. Thank you. Good. Right. You going to say hello?
Say hello.
We're going to sit up here then, be a good boy. Oh, he's 7 now. Oh. Oh. Well, this is fantastic. What a brilliant way to end the walk. Lovely cool breeze. Well, this is fun. Good boy.
Wait 1 second.
Thank you very much. All right, good boy. Right, was that fun?
That's a good idea.
Right, time for an ice cream, I think. Ooh. Well, folks, we're back on dry land. We really enjoyed that little ferry trip. And we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio. Would you like some? All right, you can have 1 lick.